Through the rain-streaked window of the coffee shop, Christine suddenly felt someone's gaze on her. Her heart started pounding faster. On her phone's screens, an anonymous message blinked. "I know everything about you. Your husband will soon find out too." In an instant, Christine's familiar life collapsed, exposing secret desires, dangerous encounters, and hidden shadows that were much closer than she had ever imagined. But before you get comfortable, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which city you're watching from and what time it is where you are. I love seeing who's joined us. Now, get cozy. We're starting. Christine's days blurred into one another. A seamless ribbon of office hours, hurried lunches, and the low hum of copy machines. She worked in a small marketing firm on the first floor of a glass building, always dressed with impeccable taste. Today was no exception. Her slender frame was hugged by a navy blue sheath dress, a light cream blazer accentuating her narrow waist. Beneath she wore a lace-trimmed nude bra and matching panties, delicate, almost invisible beneath her clothing. Her chestnut hair, long and slightly wavy, fell softly past her shoulders, framing a heart-shaped face and bright green eyes that hinted at a restless spirit. The one highlight of Christine's routine was the corner coffee shop just across from the office. The place smelled of roasted beans and caramel syrup, a world away from spreadsheets and schedules. It was there she met Jason. Jason was the kind of man who could turn heads without trying. Tall and athletic, his dark brown hair was always a little tousled, as if he'd just run his hand through it. His eyes were the color of summer skies, and when he smiled, his teeth flashed perfect and white against lightly tanned skin. Today, as always, he wore a fitted black t-shirt, an apron tied at his waist, and faded jeans that hinted at strong legs and an easy confidence. His arms, revealed by the short sleeves, were muscled in a way that spoke of time at the gym. Christine first noticed him weeks ago, but lately their exchanges grew warmer. She liked the way Jason's gaze lingered, sometimes slipping down her figure, just long enough for her heart to flutter. He remembered her usual order, latte with vanilla, no foam, and added a heart in the milk. She caught herself watching him move behind the counter, the way his broad shoulders shifted under the black cotton, the playful curl of his lips when their eyes met. Christine's colleagues teased her gently about her daily coffee ritual. None of them could deny that Jason was easy on the eyes, or that Christine's mood seemed brighter after her morning stop. Her husband Thomas rarely noticed these small changes. Their marriage was comfortable, built on habit and shared history. He was kind and handsome in his own right, though perhaps less attentive than before. One Thursday, as rain tapped gently at the cafe windows, Christine lingered over her cup. Jason was closing up early. The other barista had already left. The air between them felt different, charged, expectant. "Long day?" Jason asked, leaning on the counter, his eyes soft but searching. Christine smiled, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "You could say that." Jason's gaze lingered on her, traveling the length of her dress, pausing where the fabric traced her hips, her legs crossing elegantly at the knees. Christine felt a shiver run through her, her cheeks flushing. Her mind betrayed her. She imagined just for a moment, his hand sliding up her thigh, the soft friction of his palm against her skin, her heart beating wild. She caught herself, startled by her own thoughts, and looked away quickly. But Jason's lips curled in a knowing smile. The air between them was thick with unspoken possibilities. For a moment, Christine's fantasies took over. She pictured Jason behind her, his strong hands at her waist, his breath hot against her neck. She imagined him slipping her jacket from her shoulders, the lace of her bra exposed as his fingers explored, soft but sure. The thrill of the thought made her legs tense beneath the table, warmth spreading through her, delicate and electric. She crossed her legs tighter, pressing her thighs together, her skin tingling at the imagined touch. She shook her head gently, pulling herself back to the present. "Do you want another coffee?" Jason asked, his tone almost teasing. Christine glanced at the clock. She should have gone back to the office, but instead, she nodded. "Why not? It's not like the world will end if I'm a little late." Jason grinned, moving with easy grace. As he made her drink, Christine watched the lines of his back, the curve of his jeans. She let herself indulge in the simple pleasure of being admired, of being wanted, even if only for a moment. When her latte was ready, Jason slid it across to her, his fingers brushing hers. A touch that lingered just a second longer than it needed to. They shared a look, both aware that something was shifting between them. Outside, the rain began to fall harder. Inside, Christine's thoughts raced, her heart pounding as she sipped her drink. She knew this was dangerous, but she was helpless to resist the magnetic pull between her and Jason. It was only the beginning. Christine tried to ignore the undercurrent that buzzed between her and Jason, but it crept into her dreams and lingered through her days. She became more aware of herself, how she walked, how she dressed, how her perfume left a subtle trail behind her in the office hallway. That Friday, she chose a dress softer and lighter than usual, a pale blue slip that brushed the tops of her knees and hinted at her curves without revealing too much. Her lingerie matched, a white bra trimmed with lace, barely there straps over her shoulders, and thin, delicate panties that hugged her hips. She wore heels a little higher than her usual, giving her walk a gentle sway. As Christine entered the coffee shop after work, the evening sun cast golden lines across the tables. The place was nearly empty. A few regulars finished their drinks, but the other barista was already wiping down counters. Glancing at the clock, Jason caught Christine's eye and gave her a small secret smile that made her pulse skip. They exchanged a few words about her day, about the weather, but beneath the surface was a tension that both tried to hide. Christine sat at her favorite table by the window, crossing her legs slowly, feeling the silky fabric slide over her thighs. Jason's gaze flickered, appreciative and unmistakably interested. When the last customer left, he locked the front door and flipped the closed sign, leaving them in the gentle hush of after hours. Christine's heart beat faster. She tried to focus on her phone, but her mind wandered. She felt Jason's presence, his body moving in the quiet space, the heat of his eyes on her skin. She sensed that something inevitable was coming. Jason finished wiping the espresso machine and walked over, leaning against the edge of her table. You always stay later on Fridays, he said, voice low, just for her. Christine smiled, her lips curving in a way she did not quite recognize as her own. Maybe I just like the company. He met her gaze, blue eyes deep and searching. I like having you here. Makes the place feel different. The silence between them grew, filled with 1,000 unsaid words. Jason's hand brushed hers as he picked up her empty cup. Their fingers touched, a spark, quick and electric. Jason let his hand linger on Christine's, his thumb tracing gentle circles against her knuckles. The touch was innocent, but Christine felt it everywhere, as if his warmth seeped through her skin and into her bloodstream. Her breath came a little faster. Jason leaned closer, his face only inches from hers. Christine could smell his cologne, something fresh and masculine. Her heart thundered as she imagined him leaning in just a little more, his lips brushing her neck, his hand finding the soft line of her waist. She pictured the slips of her dress yielding to his touch, the lace of her bra exposed beneath his fingers, the thrill of being discovered, wanted and cherished. The scene played in her mind, his hands exploring her body, tracing the delicate edge of her lingerie, the cool air meeting her skin wherever he touched. But then Jason pulled back, his eyes shining with the same longing and restraint that she felt. Christine cleared her throat. I should go, she said softly. But she did not move. Her body was caught between desire and hesitation. Jason nodded, though disappointment flashed in his eyes. Let me walk you out. As they stepped toward the door, Christine's heel caught on the rug, and she stumbled slightly. Jason caught her by the waist, steadying her. The contact sent a jolt through both of them. Careful, he whispered. For a moment, they stood pressed together, her body fitting against his as if they had been made for this closeness. Christine felt the strength in his arms, the tension between restraint and desire. She looked up at him, searching for the right words, but none came. Outside, the world had grown dark and cool, but inside the coffee shop, everything felt illuminated, as if only they existed. Christine hurried home, her thoughts swirling. Guilt flickered through her. She was married, after all. But so did excitement, a delicious secret she carried just beneath her skin. That night, as she undressed, Christine glanced at herself in the mirror. She traced the line of her hip, the soft curve of her stomach, her breasts rising and falling with each breath. She slipped off her dress, letting it pool at her feet, and stood in her white lace bra and panties, her cheeks still flushed from the evening's encounter. She let her fingers trail across her own skin, remembering the feel of Jason's hand, the heat in his gaze. Her body hummed with anticipation and forbidden pleasure. For a moment, she closed her eyes and imagined it was his hands instead of hers. Soft caresses along her waist, over her stomach, up to the gentle curve of her breast. She shivered, delighting in the memory and the longing that grew with it. The following Monday, Christine arrived at the office to find two colleagues, Beth and Carla, whispering in the hallway. Their glances lingered a moment too long. Later, she caught snippets of conversation. Her name, the coffee shop, late night. A blush crept up her neck. Had someone seen her with Jason? Was it just idle gossip, or had her secret already begun to unravel? As Christine typed at her desk, a message popped up from Beth. "Coffee again today?" Christine hesitated. The line between excitement and danger had grown very thin. The weeks slipped by, but the unease in Christine's chest only grew. She tried to keep her routine the same, to avoid suspicion, smiling politely to Beth and Carla, pretending she did not notice the quick glances or hushed tones. Still, a strange tension pulsed beneath the surface of her days. At home, Thomas seemed distracted by work, lost in spreadsheets and late-night emails. If he noticed Christine's distant gaze or the way she lingered in the shower, he said nothing. On Wednesday, Christine's phone buzzed as she was leaving the office. The message was from an unknown number. "I saw you after hours with him. Does your husband know?" For a moment the world spun. Christine's heart hammered in her chest as she stared at the screen, rereading the words. Who had sent it? Was it Beth? Carla? One of the other regulars at the coffee shop? Her mind raced with fear and shame. She deleted the message, but the damage was done. The illusion of safety had shattered. She walked to the coffee shop in a daze, barely noticing the way her heels clicked against the pavement, or how the evening sun cast long shadows on the sidewalk. Inside, the cafe was already winding down for the night. Jason looked up from the counter, a crease forming between his brows as he saw her face. "Hey," he said softly, stepping out from behind the espresso machine. "What's wrong?" Christine hesitated, then lowered her voice. "Someone knows. They saw us. They sent me a message." She showed him her phone, her hands trembling. Jason's jaw tightened. "Do you know who it was?" Christine shook her head, frustration and anxiety warring inside her. "No, but they know about us. Or at least, they think they do." Jason reached out, placing a reassuring hand on hers. "We were just talking. No one can prove anything." But Christine felt exposed. Her secret life suddenly fragile. She squeezed his hand, trying to steady herself. "I need to know who it was," she said, her voice barely a whisper. The cafe emptied out as the last customer left. Jason flipped the closed sign, locking the door behind him. The space felt more intimate now, quieter, charged with something urgent and uncertain. He led her to the back, where the lights were softer, and the world outside felt far away. They sat close together, voices low, piecing together who might have seen them, who might have followed, who might want to hurt her. As their conversation grew more tense, Christine felt herself needing comfort, reassurance. She pressed closer to Jason, her shoulder brushing his. He turned to her, searching her eyes for permission. Their faces hovered inches apart. The air between them hummed with longing and fear. Then, softly, Jason's lips found hers. A gentle, searching kiss that grew deeper as Christine melted against him. His arms slipped around her waist, drawing her close, his touch firm yet gentle. Christine felt her worries dissolve as Jason's hands found the small of her back, tracing slow circles over the thin fabric of her dress. Their kiss deepened, hungry and electric, his fingers curling into her hair, hers clinging to his shirt. The soft pressure of his chest against hers, the heat of his skin through her clothes. She gave herself over to the moment, feeling both vulnerable and alive. The need to be wanted, to be seen, blazed inside her, eclipsing the fear, if only for a little while. A sudden sound broke them apart, a sharp ring from Christine's phone. She gasped, heart thudding. It was Thomas. She watched the screen in panic, hands shaking. She could not answer, not like this, not with Jason's lips still tingling on hers. "I have to go," Christine whispered, disentangling herself from Jason's embrace. He nodded, regret and concern in his eyes. "Be careful." Christine rushed outside, her mind whirling. Night had fallen, and the world seemed transformed, darker, every shadow a possible witness. She hurried home, her thoughts racing, every glance over her shoulder magnifying her fear. Was someone following her? Had someone taken pictures? At home, Thomas was already in bed, laptop propped open, his brow furrowed in concentration. Christine slipped quietly into the bathroom, her heart still pounding. She leaned against the door, chest heaving, her lips still tingling from Jason's kiss. She closed her eyes, trying to calm herself. The next morning at work, the tension was worse. Carla greeted her with a knowing look, her lips curling in a half smile. Beth was uncharacteristically quiet. In the break room, Christine overheard two colleagues talking. She was definitely there after hours. "I heard someone's been watching." Christine's stomach twisted. She felt exposed, vulnerable. The walls seemed to close in around her. At lunch, she received another message from the same unknown number. "You're playing a dangerous game. Secrets don't stay hidden forever." Panic bubbled inside her. She replied, hands shaking, "Who is this?" But there was no answer. That evening, Christine met Jason again. They sat in his car, parked behind the coffee shop. Rain tapped gently at the windshield, turning the city lights into streaks of color. In the quiet, Jason reached for her, his hand gentle but insistent. Christine leaned into him, seeking comfort. Their lips met, slow and desperate. Jason's hands slid to her waist, his fingers grazing the edge of her dress. Christine shivered, letting herself be held, cherished. The warmth of his body, the tenderness in his touch, they washed away her fear. Just for a moment. His hands moved along her back, finding the zipper of her dress, pausing as if asking permission. Christine nodded, breathless, her body answering before her mind could catch up. Their kisses grew more urgent, more daring, but always respectful. A delicate dance between restraint and a longing. The storm outside mirrored the one inside her. When they finally parted, Christine felt raw, her emotions a tangled web of longing, guilt, and fear. She stepped out into the rain, unsure if she had escaped the danger or if she had stepped further into it. That night, she lay awake, listening to the storm and the sound of her own heartbeat, wondering who was watching and what they wanted from her. Christine's world had narrowed to secrets, questions, and wary glances over her shoulder. The next day at the office, she felt eyes following her, every whisper now a threat. Her phone stayed close, but the mysterious number was silent. The silence felt worse than the messages. A calm before something unknown. Determined to learn who was watching her, Christine confided in her colleague and friend Lindsay. Lindsay was different from the other women in the office. Tall, athletic, with a striking confidence. Her hair was bright blonde, always in a neat ponytail, and she wore tailored slacks and crisp blouses that showed off her toned figure. Her features were sharp yet inviting, and she had a way of making Christine feel safe. Christine found her by the water cooler. "Lindsay, can I ask you something? Have you heard any rumors about me and the coffee shop?" Lindsay's blue eyes widened, her lips tightening as she glanced around to be sure no one was listening. "Beth and Carla have been talking, but they do that about everyone. Did something happen?" Christine hesitated, searching Lindsay's face for a hint of judgment or malice. She found none. "Someone's been sending me messages, threatening ones. I think I'm being watched." Lindsay placed a reassuring hand on Christine's arm. "That's awful. Do you have any idea who it could be?" "No," Christine admitted, her voice trembling. "But I can't sleep. I keep thinking someone's following me. I don't know what to do." Lindsay promised to keep an eye out, but the comfort was fleeting. As Christine returned to her desk, she noticed Beth and Carla huddled in the corner glancing her way. Their voices dropped when she passed. At lunch, Christine sat alone, her appetite gone. She let her mind wander, searching for answers. Who would want to hurt her or expose her? She thought of everyone who could have seen her with Jason. Was it a jealous colleague? A stranger with nothing better to do? The mystery gnawed at her. That night, unable to face Thomas's questions, Christine returned to the coffee shop. It was empty, the lights soft and golden, rain once again streaking the windows. Jason was cleaning up, his dark hair messy, a shadow of worry on his face. He greeted her with a gentle smile, but Christine could see the concern behind his eyes. "Any more messages?" he asked quietly. She shook her head. "No, but I feel like I'm being watched. I'm scared, Jason. I don't know who to trust." He stepped closer, his presence calming. "I wish I could help you more. Maybe you should go to the police." Christine shook her head. "And say what? That someone knows I get coffee after hours?" Jason wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. The tension of the past days melted as Christine pressed her face into his chest. His hands stroked her back, gentle and protective. She breathed in his scent, feeling safe for the first time all week. Jason's fingers traced lazy circles over her blouse, his touch moving lower to her waist. Christine tilted her face up, her lips seeking his. They kissed, slow and deep, as rain tapped the windows. Jason's hand slid down her hip, finding the curve of her body, his fingers brushing the hem of her skirt. Christine shivered, a delicious thrill coursing through her. For a moment she forgot her fears, lost in the comfort and longing they shared. Afterwards, Christine lingered, resting her head on Jason's shoulder. "Do you ever think we're just running from something?" she whispered. Jason didn't answer right away. Maybe we're just trying to feel alive." The mystery lingered between them, unresolved. When Christine finally stepped back out into the rain, she felt the gaze on her again, a prickling on the back of her neck. She hurried home, looking over her shoulder, but saw nothing. At home, Thomas was still awake, watching television with the volume low. Christine slipped past him, feeling his eyes follow her down the hallway. She wondered if he suspected, if he could see the guilt in her movements. In the privacy of her bedroom, Christine let herself remember Jason's touch. She changed into her nightgown, pausing to examine herself in the mirror. Her skin was flushed, her hair tousled. She let her fingers trail over the delicate lace of her white bra, her body still humming from their embrace. Her thoughts drifted. Jason's strong hands at her waist, his lips on her neck, the secret thrill of being wanted. She slid her hands along her curves, her breath quickening as she replayed their kisses in her mind. The guilt and excitement twisted together, a mystery she could not solve. As she drifted off to sleep, her dreams were a blur of rain, whispers, and longing glances over her shoulder. The next morning, a new note appeared in her bag. This time, it was handwritten. The letters sharp and precise. Careful who you trust. Christine stared at the note, fear rising in her throat. Someone was closer than she thought. Someone who knew her routines, her secrets, and could reach her anywhere. She looked around the office, searching every face for a sign. Lindsay caught her gaze, giving her a gentle, encouraging smile. Christine tried to smile back, but the mystery only grew deeper. Who was watching her? Why did it feel like the walls were closing in? As the day wore on, Christine could think of nothing else. Every glance, every whisper became a possible clue. She knew she had to solve the mystery before it destroyed her carefully constructed life. Christine's nerves were stretched to breaking. The new note had rattled her in ways she could not hide. And even Lindsay's comforting presence at work could not erase the worry from Christine's eyes. She felt as if every step she took left footprints for someone to follow. Every word she spoke might become ammunition for the mysterious observer. At home, Thomas had grown watchful. Over dinner, his questions became sharper, his eyes holding hers a little too long. "You've been distracted lately," he said one evening, setting down his fork. "Is everything all right at work? You seem somewhere else." Christine managed a weak smile. "Just stress. It's been a rough month." He nodded, but did not look convinced. That night, as they got ready for bed, Christine caught her reflection in the mirror. Pale, tired, but undeniably more alive than she had been in years. She touched her lips, remembering Jason's kiss and the warmth that lingered beneath her skin. At the office, the tension only increased. Beth and Carla were relentless, their jokes just vague enough to avoid suspicion, but pointed enough that Christine felt the sting. Lindsay stood by her side, quietly supportive. But Christine sensed a subtle shift in her as well, a distance she could not quite explain. One afternoon, as Christine gathered her things to leave, Thomas called her. "Are you coming straight home tonight?" She hesitated. "I think I'll go for coffee. Just need some air." A pause. "All right," he said, his tone flat. "Be careful." That evening, the coffee shop was nearly deserted. Jason waited for her in the back, away from the windows. a look of worry shadowing his handsome features. Christine sank into his arms the moment she entered, the safety of his embrace melting her tension away. Jason held her tightly, pressing his lips to her forehead. Christine felt his hands slide down her back, tracing the zipper of her dress. Their kisses were deep, urgent, born of fear and the knowledge that time was running out. Jason's fingers found the hem of her dress, slipping underneath to caress her thigh. Christine shivered, her breath quickening as he explored the curve of her body. His touch reverent and careful. She let herself sink into the moment, her worries dissolving as Jason's lips trailed down her neck, his hands roaming over her waist, hips and thighs. Their bodies pressed together, desire growing between them, but always respectful. Each touch a reassurance that they were not alone in their fear. They parted breathless, their foreheads touching. "Someone's still watching me?" Christine whispered. "I found another note. What if they tell Thomas? What if I lose everything?" Jason stroked her cheek. "We can stop. I don't want to be the reason you're hurt." Christine shook her head, her heart torn. "It's not just about you. I feel alive when I'm with you, but I can't live like this. I need to know who it is." A plan formed between them. They would meet in a public place the next night, somewhere crowded, hoping to catch whoever was following her. Christine's nerves were raw as she left the cafe, scanning the street for any sign of their stalker. She saw nothing, but the feeling of being watched clung to her like a shadow. At home, Thomas was waiting. "Did you see anyone tonight?" he asked quietly. Christine froze. "What do you mean?" He hesitated. "Someone left a note on my car. It said, 'Your wife has secrets.'" The world seemed to tilt beneath her feet. Christine felt her heart pounding. "Thomas, I..." He held up a hand. "Don't. Not now. I just want the truth, Christine. Are you seeing someone?" She opened her mouth, but no words came. She looked down, shame and fear warring in her chest. Thomas left the room, the slam of the door echoing in the silence. Christine spent a sleepless night, torn between confession and denial, desperate for the comfort she had found with Jason, but terrified of the consequences if everything came to light. The next evening, Christine and Jason met in the busy city square, blending in with the crowd. Christine's eyes darted everywhere, searching for the face behind the notes and messages. Jason kept close to her, his hand steady on her lower back. For an hour, they wandered, watched, waiting for something, anything, to reveal the truth. Suddenly, Christine caught a flash of the blonde hair near a storefront window. Lindsay, her friend from work, was standing across the street, half hidden by a lamppost, eyes fixed on Christine and Jason. Christine's blood ran cold. Lindsay? It could not be. Jason noticed her reaction. "What is it?" Christine pointed. "Lindsay. She's been there for a while, watching us." Jason's expression darkened. "Let's go talk to her." They crossed the street, Christine's heart hammering. Lindsay's face, once warm and open, was hard, her blue eyes glittering with something Christine could not name. "Lindsay, what are you doing here?" Christine demanded, her voice shaking. Lindsay gave a small, bitter smile. "Just watching out for a friend. Or maybe watching out for myself. Have you been sending those messages? Christine asked, tears pricking her eyes. Lindsay looked away. You never really noticed, did you? How people look at you. How lucky you are. I was trying to protect you from yourself, Christine. Or maybe I just wanted you to hurt for once. Christine recoiled, stunned. The revelation felt like a blow. Lindsay, her friend, her confidant, had been the one tormenting her all along. Jason stepped between them, his tone gentle but firm. This has to stop, Lindsay. Let Christine live her life. Lindsay turned and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Christine shaking with anger, betrayal, and a strange sense of relief. She looked at Jason, tears in her eyes. What do I do now? He pulled her close, holding her as the city buzzed around them. In that embrace, Christine found a bittersweet comfort. The knowledge that love and pain, betrayal and desire, could exist together, tangled in the same heartbeat. She was left with questions. But at last, she had found the source of her torment. The conflict was out in the open. And now, Christine could finally decide what to do with the truth. The night air felt different as Christine and Jason walked quietly away from the city square. Her heart was still pounding from the confrontation with Lindsay, her friend, her betrayer. She felt relief and sorrow intertwined. The mystery finally solved, but the wound still fresh. Jason kept an arm around her shoulders, steady and warm, letting her move at her own pace. They ended up back at the quiet coffee shop, Jason unlocking the door and letting Christine inside. The lights were low, the world outside a gentle hush. Did you hear? For the first time in weeks, Christine felt almost safe. She leaned against the counter, watching as Jason made her a cup of tea. His movements were gentle, careful, as if he knew how fragile she was inside. Christine took in the lines of his body, the strength in his arms, the way his dark hair caught the light. Even now, with so much uncertainty, she felt drawn to him. Are you all right? Jason asked softly, sliding the mug into her hands. Christine nodded, but her voice trembled. I just can't believe it was Lindsay. All this time I thought she was my friend. Jason reached for her hand, lacing his fingers through hers. People surprise us, sometimes not in the ways we want. Christine managed a smile, tears shining in her green eyes. You were the only thing that felt real, even when everything else was spinning out of control. He squeezed her hand. I care about you, Christine, but you have to decide what you want. I can't make that choice for you. She took a slow breath, thinking about everything that had happened. The secret messages, the tension at home, the thrill and fear of her encounters with Jason. She remembered Thomas's hurt eyes, the way he had asked for honesty. She owed him that, at least. Jason reached out, pulling her close. Christine melted into his arms, seeking warmth and clarity. Their lips met, slow and tender. Both of them knowing this might be the last time. Jason's hands slid up her sides, thumbs brushing along her ribcage, pausing as if to memorize the feeling. Christine's arms wrapped around his neck, her body arching into his touch. The world faded, leaving only the sensation of Jason's hands gliding over the fabric of her blouse, the gentle pressure of his chest against hers. They kissed again, deeper, both savoring the sweetness and sadness in the moment. Jason's hand traced the line of her back, his touch reassuring, loving, but never possessive. Christine pressed herself closer, breathing him in, her heart aching with both longing and gratitude. When they parted, Jason rested his forehead against hers. "Whatever you decide, I want you to be happy. You deserve that." Christine smiled softly. "Thank you for everything." She left the coffee shop and walked home, her mind clearer than it had been in weeks. The night was cool, the city lights blurring as she made her way through quiet streets. She did not rush. At home, Thomas sat at the kitchen table, a mug of coffee cradled in his hands. He looked up as she entered, his expression uncertain but hopeful. Christine sat down across from him. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, she found her voice. "I need to be honest with you, Thomas. I've made mistakes. I let something happen that I shouldn't have, and I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you." Thomas's eyes filled with pain, but also with a deep, steady love. "Do you want to leave me?" he asked quietly. Christine shook her head. "No. I want to find my way back to you, if you'll let me." He reached across the table, taking her hand. "Then let's start over. No more secrets." They sat in silence, holding hands, letting the past settle between them. Not as a wall, but as something to step over, together. In the days that followed, life slowly found its rhythm again. Lindsay quit her job and disappeared from the office, leaving behind only rumors and unanswered questions. Beth and Carla soon lost interest in the drama, turning their attention to other stories. Christine focused on rebuilding trust with Thomas, sharing more, laughing more, learning again how to be close. Sometimes, when Christine walked by the coffee shop, she caught a glimpse of Jason through the window. His smile warm but distant now. They shared a quiet understanding, a chapter closed but not forgotten. Sometimes at night, Christine let herself remember Jason's touch, the way he made her feel beautiful, alive, desired. She would touch the silk of her nightgown, recalling the sweetness of their secret moments, letting the memory warm her. But now, those memories felt less like a wound and more like a lesson. That it was possible to be wanted, to want, to risk, and still find a way back to herself. Christine found peace, not in certainty, but in acceptance. The knowledge that every choice had shaped her, and that even painful truths could lead to a new beginning. Her story was not a tragedy, nor a fairy tale, but something more honest. A real life, with mistakes and forgiveness, secrets and second chances. And as she drifted off to sleep, Christine smiled, knowing she had survived the storm and come out in her own way, free.